getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows. getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Known as the heart of British motorsport, Donnington Park has hosted virtually every form of motor racing you can imagine. This 2-mile road course has a great combination of elevation changes, hard braking zones, and fast lateral curves that make for some great racing action. It has also hosted some dramatic events here in the Weekend Warriors as well, from dominant performances to last lap double disqualifications. Whatever the results, it is sure to be a great show as we bring you round 7 of the Weekend Warrior Summer Series. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Charles Boshell. Alongside me, Josh Wilkie, running production as well as helping with the commentary. Josh, welcome into the broadcast today. And we were talking about this before we came live, how much you really enjoy this track. It's a great racetrack for me doing a broadcast, not necessarily as a driver, but you actually had some good results here.
Yeah, absolutely, Charles. This is definitely one of my favorite tracks in an FF car for sure. I've raced here in the rain, I've raced here in the dry, I've raced here in mixed weather, and I've always had fun around here. I've been able to get a little bit of a result. I find this place, it's got some difficult sections and so on in it, but it is it is nice and flowing and fast, and you can find a rhythm around here, and that's going to be the key to Donnington Raceway Park here, international layout today, is finding that rhythm, and really easy to off track around here, lots of passing opportunities. So I think it's going to be a good one, and you're going to have to make some good decisions out there today, as well as be precise.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that, as we are running the national layout today, so we're missing that the GP section there, which has those two hairpins that seem to cause us trouble. So we decided with the short course today here in the Formula Fords for round 7, as we continue on with our summer series. And we want to thank the folks at Ray eSports Weekend Warriors for providing the sponsorship for today's event. So keeping this train rolling here. And if you, speaking of rain, as you mentioned it earlier, if you missed last week, you missed a barn burner at Tsukuba in the rain with just a lot of cars. I think over 30 cars, and we have another 30 today as well. So good turnout for today's event, as we've got some of our Formula Ford ringers back out there. You see Mikey Pollard there as we're riding on board with him, currently in third in qualifying. Outstanding in the Formula Ford. Kane Lasky up there as well. So we switch around as we go here back to the Formula Fords for, I believe this is their third round of 4 this season. So we'll have one more shot at them in a few weeks, as we are now underway with qualifying, almost 4 minutes in, and we're just getting our first lap times. As you see, pretty much the top 20 on the board have already got their first laps in, and Christian Kabanka, the 78, it's good to have Christian back, and he is one of those guys that is good in this car. And now Mikey Pollard jumps up there as well, 112.854. So some of our guys that are used to running these Formula Fords with high efficiency are out there and setting some great lap times, as now Kane Lasky jumps to the top of the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely have some Formula Ford hot shoes out there. Mikey Pollard being one of them, now being pushed actually back to third position from Christian Kabanka. I haven't actually seen Christian Kabanka around for a while, popping in a great lap there to put himself into the second position. Just following now through this difficult section here with Mikey Pollard. So easy to off track through here, Charles. You want to maximize those corners. A couple blind entries, even actually a bit of a blind exit and entry. You're coming in here, another blind one. You got to get this one just right for this big long straightaway through the back here. Of course, these cars not the most powerful cars on the service for sure, so you need to get that momentum. You need to keep that momentum. You need to get those exits right. You can see now the track is very busy here with qualifying happening. It is an open qualifying session in the Weekend Warriors, meaning that they're all out there at the same time, having to find lap time with other cars on the track in front of you. So, generally speaking, in these Weekend Warrior style races here, in these open qualifyings, what you want to do is find a draft buddy, and you can see here just behind Jason Green. I'm not sure exactly who that car is there, but he is definitely going to be using that draft behind Jason Green. So the idea here would be to kind of stay behind him. Jason Green's a very fast driver, so kind of the perfect person to draft really around here. And then hopefully you're close enough to him on that final straight that you can drag race him down there, beat him into the final corner, and then you will have the fastest lap time today from that draft. And of course, alternatively, you can also just get completely stuffed by people out there and not be able to get a lap. And that's happened to me before. It's very frustrating. You do have to fight for it. Some people don't want to play ball, but it's something we all have to deal with out there. So it does add a whole nother layer and a whole nother element. Just before I pass it off here, I want to get out quickly. Gotta wish our big thanks to Whiplash SimCams today for helping out get our cameras set up for this one. Andrew at Whiplash there actually doing a little bit of work getting us the national cams ready just before this race. So thank you for giving us the tools to make things look so good out there. And of course, I gotta wish my wife a big happy birthday today. It is my wife's birthday, so happy birthday, Claudine. And we'll get back to racing here as soon as possible. I think she's watching right now, so have a good day, girl, and we'll check you after the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy birthday to Claudine, because she's the one that sends out the check. So I'm going to wish her a happy birthday too. Congratulations, many happy returns. I hope your day is great. I promise we'll send the hubby back in one piece here at the end of this broadcast, as we are in our SRF format today. 20-minute open qualifying session, 40-minute race with a pit stop and that is Tortolo that was behind Jason Green here. I think we're actually on board with him now. So Jason and Tor there running 6th and 8th in qualifying, with Jason Chin splitting the difference there in P7. So you kind of expect Tor to be maybe a force here. Obviously spectacular in the Formula Vs. This car drives a little different than the Formula V, so we'll see. But right now, Andrew Moran up on the top of the board as we continue on here. And we're riding on board here with Tortolo heading down the front straight. I just want to run down. Boris Essman is currently our pole sitter in Spec 2 in P12, and Jim Brewster is our pole sitter in Masters after that spectacular run he had last week at Tsukuba in P16 now, as another driver jumps in there. It's David Lehman, who is now the pole sitter for Masters in a P11 with a 113.012, as Pollard climbs to the top of the list. And you see these tenths at a time, Josh, as they drop a couple of tenths every lap, and they just get quicker and quicker and quicker as those fuel burns off and they get up into that rhythm that you were talking about. So while we're watching these guys and we're kind of in the midpoint of qualifying here, let's go ahead and bring up our championship points for the season as we watch these guys circulate this track, as we'll bring up our Spec 1 points as they run here after 6 rounds prior to today's event, and we'll let Josh get that worked out.
There we go.
There we go. Nate Schramm, your current leader, 30-point gap over Tortolo. So Tor trying to hang on there. Borowski, Adrian sitting in P3, Jason Green in 4th, Josh Justice P5, Andrew Moran, Jason Shin, Dirk Braun, Guido Marzuki, Alexander Gorson round out your top 10. Still pretty close once you get down beyond P2. 30-point gap between 1st and 2nd, 33-point gap between 2nd and 3rd, and then the points tighten up as we go down. So nothing's set in stone there in the S1 category just yet. And Josh, what do you think about S2?
Yeah, S2, the one a little closer to my heart here. I was in S1 briefly, but back to S2, where I belong, let's say. Steven Saunders, 332 points in 1st place. Daniel Wood will be in 2nd with 272. Paul Jackson in 3rd with 261. In 4th place, you'll find Jason Grider with 256 points. 5th place, Adam Bradshaw will be 239 points. Phil Berry with 228. Michelle Lynn, 206. Dustin Diaz in 8th with 173. Marcel Grossen in 9th place, with 167, and Steve Pepper you'll find in 10th place with 145. So still very close in S2 as well, Charles, just like you would expect it to be. It is a knife fight in the S2 category, let me tell you. You are in mid-pack, you are in the back of the pack. It is all to play for back there. Everything is on, and it is a knife fight for sure. So good on Steve Saunders there, and Daniel Wood looking real good, as well as Paul Jackson this season there to hold those positions. But of course, then we have our Masters where it all kind of happens here. These guys kind of all over the board, depending on what track we go to. If it gets technical, well, then they're usually up at the front. But I'll let you take these ones, Charles.
Yeah, for sure. Rich Meester's currently leading your Masters with a pretty good gap over Jim Brewster. Had a fantastic race last week, finished top 5 and winning the Masters class, as he has a 63-point gap over Jim Brewster. Tom Gradwell just 3 points back in 3rd. Bigger gap there to Jeff Wubker, Stevie Ray in P5, Alan DeGassis, Adam Bradshaw, Nick Tolo, Wayne Buttermore, and Brad Cathcart round out your top 10. As a matter of fact, Cathcart and Andrew Love tied for 10th position there with 188 points. So, as you know, just for the heck of it, because I want to see this, because we talked about this and it made me curious. Can you bring up the overall standings as they say?
Yeah, we're going to give it a try here anyway. Let's see if it works. We haven't done this before. I don't think so. You never know what's going to happen sometimes with our software here, but boom, there it is. That's the overall points, Charles. So this is without class displayed. Who's doing what? I'll let you run through that one.
Yeah, for sure. So Nate Schramm, Tortolo, Adrian Borowski, Jason Green, Josh Justice, your top 5, all Spec 1 drivers. Rich Meester's the first Masters driver running in 6th. Andrew Baran in 7th. Steven Saunders in 8th, our Spec 2 leader. Jason Chin in 9th, and Tom Gradwell, another Masters driver, running in 10. And you see the rest of the list, but it's interesting. This is just a result of how well you finish as we calculate points based on finishing position, irrespective of what class you're in. So if you get a P5, if you finish P5, you get P5 points. So it's just kind of interesting to see how that all plays out. But you see the Spec 1 drivers seemingly and probably should be dominant here in this overall. But it's good to see that we've got some Masters and some Spec 3 drivers sitting up there in the top 10.
Yeah, that was actually the first thing that struck me there a bit, is it is pretty peppered with some S2, a little bit of Masters, all around the top 10 there as well. And then as we go through our list here, you can see just how many drivers there are in this series. Some of them not making it to the races, maybe one or two this season. But, I mean, this list probably goes on and on and on. Honestly, Charles, an awesome league here with the Weekend Warriors able to get. I mean, I think in total there's probably close to 900 drivers or something signed up between the three series. So amazing stuff. And, of course, we do have to bring up that we will be doing the 50th running of the V runoffs coming up this week 13. It will be coming back, and we're going to do something pretty special this season. We're going to have a 2-day event going back to the roots of the series there and getting in some machinery maybe we don't usually see, as well as back to some that we're in all the time. So it really should be a pretty cool one there. And we'll have more details as that develops here, but keep your eye on SMB for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. As we had the 10-year anniversary of the Weekend Warriors last year, as we celebrated, and actually we're on a race spot for that broadcast, simulcasted, and it was a great event. As obviously 10 years of anything is a long time, and for sim racing, 10 years feels like an eternity, because it's just things come and go very quickly. People are really, really interested with it, and then all of a sudden they're no longer interested with it. The cars sometimes go by the wayside. The people, once again, this is a hobby, so the people either don't have time or don't have money or don't have both to do this. So it's a big credit to Stevie Ray and all the people who work with him as administrators of these leagues, and it's going to be fantastic as we have our 50th V runoffs at the end of season in week 13. And so great to see that we're going to have a two-day event here, and that should be something to behold. So as we are now about 3/4 of the way through qualifying here, Mikey Pollard still sitting on pole with a 112.209. Kane Lasky second, Jason Chin third. You see the gaps are just tenths between them as we work down. Christian Gabanka fourth. Maurizio Naselli now up to P5. So Maurizio jumping out of his comfort zone a little bit. Normally a spec racer driver has decided to come in here in the Formula Fords. He's ran it a little bit. I wouldn't say he's a full-timer in here, but obviously it shows a little bit of pace here as he's moved up to fifth. Tortello in sixth. Nate Schramm in seventh. Boris Essman still there, our Spec 2 driver running in P8. And Jason Green and Guido Marzucchi finish out our top 10. David Lima is still hanging on to the Masters pole, but only by about 44 thousandths of a second over Tom Gradwell. As we're probably going to get some changes here. These late qualifying runs generally will shuffle the board a little bit. I don't know that we'll get anybody to jump the pole, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, all you need, as you said, is some good momentum and a little bit of draft help.
Yeah, absolutely. The draft help around here is helping. You can see, I mean, there's going to be some fireworks today, Charles. Look at that at the top of this leaderboard here. If you can put Nathaniel Schramm in fifth place, you're flying out there. So, and Jason Green back in ninth. Guido Marzucchi as well, a very fast driver. Andrew Moran, very fast driver. Down in 11th place. As you said, it's still a little to play for here, and that can be slightly inflated because of that draft. Things will level out a little bit perhaps during the race, but I have a feeling this top 10, top 11, top 12 drivers are some of the fastest FF drivers I have ever been around. And that is going to be quite the race here. I think we're going to have around Donnington here today. It's going to be a good one. So make sure you tune in there and sit down and get yourself ready for this one, because it's going to be a good one. 16 minutes now in qualifying of a 20-minute qualifying have passed us by here. Mikey Pollard still leading in S1. Boris Essman will be your leader in S2. And then David B. Lehman back in 12th place will be holding on to the Masters lead at the moment. So still all to play for out there, still popping some times, and it actually has struck me here just how quickly Tortolo was up in second, and then by the time I look back up again, he was in fifth, and then I looked up again, and now he's in sixth. So it's definitely, it's all happening out there as fast as possible. Mauricio Naselli choosing here really not to go for much of a draft behind anybody, or maybe he can't find one. I have noticed many times, been in sessions with him, that he's not one really to really care so much about that. I've noticed he kind of has the raw speed anyway. He sort of knows, I think he has it during the race as well. So I don't think he worries really too much about tucking himself underneath people. I haven't seen him wrestle with that. Although, man, if you can get out behind him, you know you're going to get a fast lap if you can stay close to him. So I've been around there before, and he's actually helped me with a couple laps over the seasons there for sure as it goes here in the Weekend Warriors. But I think this is going to be a big one, man. There's a lot of fast drivers out there today, and a lot to play for around this track.
Yeah, as just kind of looking at the lap times, first to third, 0.12 of a second, the gap. From fourth down to seventh, it is 0.11 of a second, I believe, if I counted that right, as now Schramm moves up to P4 as he kind of jumps the shark a little bit there. But then you look down from P8 down to around P14, the gap is basically a tenth and a half. So that just shows you how close these lap times are here in qualifying. And that always gives us a good feeling that we're going to have a good race. Now, obviously, there are things that are going to happen here during this race that most drivers won't have any control over. I'm sure we will have, with the fact that we've got 33 drivers out there, as now we have a late arriving Hugh Simpkins who just jumped in. So 33 drivers out there today. So that is a pretty stacked field here for a track that is not overly wide. So it's going to be some tight confines, especially through some of these speedier sections, as you saw the 377 there of Eust, who just gets out there on cold tires and maybe a little too hot there going through the S's.
Yeah, a little over-optimistic, I think. They're trying to get that lap in. You got to get those tires heated up, and I'm sure that's what he's thinking. I'm going to lean on these things as hard as I can here because I only have a lap or two to heat them up, maybe one lap, actually, to heat them up that he kind of just messed up. So this is going to be a bit of a difficult one for him today out there. As I said, it is a bit of a knife fight in the back of these fields, and to make your way through, he's a fast driver, and to make your way through the field is not going to be easy today. Maybe I'll jump on board here quickly on this final lap we have. Just flat out blast down through this section here. You're just flat out through here. Maybe a tiny lift right there. One of the more difficult corners here, Charles. You got to take a bunch of curb right there and then take some here as well to get it right, to get it perfect. Another corner here where you're taking a bunch of curb totally flat out and then into our more technical section here. Not much of a corner here. This one's pretty easy. Then we're starting to get a little bit more clenchy through here. You can see really using that slip angle to try to get that car to turn through that section, but not scrub as much speed as possible. And then the same thing here. You sort of have to snipe that one from behind. So you can't even really see it, and you're sort of turning in before it's there. When you get that final corner right, it feels so good. And if you can do it over and over again, that's going to be the key to the lap around here during a long race like this. That corner is going to be very, very key to your overall lap time. The rest, you can make a little mistake here and there, but if you make a mistake through that final corner, Charles, you're just going to be a sitting duck for everyone behind you. And tell me how I know.
Yeah, exactly. As the qualifying timer is at the 20-minute mark, and so now we're kind of into quali overtime here. As the cars that are out there that have started the lap will get to finish it, as long as they started it before the checker flag came out. And so we had a couple other ones here as we're on board with Jason Green here working his way down into that chicane that is going to be the source of dispute here a little bit later. Yep. Very difficult even to go through there with one, as he's just going to pull over and that's it for me in qualifying. But it's going to be a source of dispute as we get going, because it's hard enough to get through there one wide. But there will be some people try to get through there 2 wide, and there will be some people that fail to get through there 3 wide probably. So that's probably what we got on board. But as you said, you got to take a lot of curb, which is not always the easiest thing to do in these Formula Fords. Sometimes the Fords will be, sometimes the FFs will be compliant, and sometimes they won't. So we'll just have to see how that's going to play out. Obviously, on the first lap, we'll get a good look, because that is going to be when it's the least likely to work well, as now qualifying is ending, as we are now finished and we're at the 22-minute mark. So it should kick over here just momentarily, and we will get our starting grid pulled up.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting one here for sure, Charles. And we got a pretty big grid, so we should probably get to it.
Let's get right at it. Mikey Pollard, your pole sitter for today. Outside of row 1 will be Kane Lasky. Third will be Jason Chin. Nate Schramm starting in P4. Christian Kabanka starting in 5th. Tortello starts in P6. Maurizio Nazelli will start in 7th. Boris Esmond, Spec 2 driver, pole sitter, starting in 8th. Jason Green, Andrew Moran round out your top 10. Guido Markizuki will start in 11th. David Lehman will be our pole sitter for Masters in 12th. Tom Gradwell will start in 13th. Dirk Braun will start in P14. Alan DeGassis starts in 15th. 16th is Adrian Borowski. Really down the order for Adrian there. Joaquin Osbeck starting in 17th. 18th will be Jim Brewster. Rich Meester starts in 19th. Dan Stasinski starting in P20. Steve Pepper in 21st. 22nd will be Jason Grider. Stevie Ray starts in 23rd. Josh Justice will start in P24 as we round out the rest of the grid. Phil Berry starts in 25th. Jeff Wubker in 26th. Dustin Diaz starts in 27th. 28th will be Paul Jackson. 29th is Paul Cordeshi. Wayne Buttermore starts in 30th. And then the final three, Nick Tullo, Hugh Simpkins, and Ovid Anderson, who I don't know is still in the server. But what did sign in, and I don't think he's still there. He is not on the grid, so it may just be 32 on our starting grid as we get things underway. So Josh, as we get ready to roll out from this short pace lap, a couple final thoughts on as a driver, what are you thinking as you're sitting there with 31 of your best friends here as we get ready to get this race underway?
Well, I'm thinking, who's my friend out there, really? No, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking pretty much what I'm thinking there is, you want in the beginning of these, in this kind of first phase of the race here, to try to let things come to you. At least that's what I try to do. Anyway, I try not to push too hard, try not to turn the screws too hard. It's about surviving this first 10 minutes or so of the race, and then you can maybe kind of settle into a bit of a rhythm and find a partner to kind of race with. And then you can kind of click laps off and not worry about your pit stop basically at that point, and then things can get really hairy again. But really at the beginning here, you just want to be thinking about trying to get these opening laps done. Monopolize on the opportunities you have, but don't stick your nose in something where it shouldn't be. And that's really hard to do. It sounds easy. It sounds like easy advice, but it's really not. It's hard to figure that out when you have a bunch of other minds around you thinking different things for sure. So I have a feeling we're going to see some sparks fly here early, and I'm definitely here for it. This is going to be a good one.
All right, here we go. As the pace car will peel off and head into the pit lane, we are getting ready to get the green flag as the leader brings them down, and we are underway. Green flag already fanning out 4 wide in the mid-pack here as we get things going. Pollard jumping out to the early lead here. He's got Lasky and Jason Chin there side by side, battle for second already, as still 2 and 3 wide in the middle of this pack. They're going to get that settled down here when we get down to these fast corners. We get down to Old Hairpin here just in a moment as we get through the S's section. It makes this hard right-hand corner, and you see them starting to line up nose to tail as the idea of trying to catch a spot is kind of going out the window here. But a great jump by Pollard. He's already out to about a half-second gap here as he's just pulled out a nice little lead, but I think that will be short-lived as these cars are now lined up. They'll close that gap back down, and we'll get our train going for today.
Yep, absolutely. You can see a little bit of side-by-side racing going on back there between, I believe that may have been Andrew Moran and Jason Green, or possibly Tortello, but pretty good start here so far. I don't want to jinx it. We haven't quite finished this whole lap yet, but we're looking at a lot of FFs here with wheels still on them, so that is a really, really good sign. Had a bit of a strange start there. Somebody's nose up in the air early. Not sure what happened there. We'll see if we can't get a replay of that start at some point, but now we're starting to kick off already here. Some pressure from, I believe, Christian Kambanka on Jason Chen. He's going to take him up the inside of T1. That is going to slow down that pack. You can see now that gap growing between those drivers, and the 3 drivers in front of them now going to start growing out. So that's something you want to think about here as well, Charles, is you want to get those positions, but you want to do them as efficiently as possible and not get pushed backwards. There is a lot of FF cars out there to swallow you up if you make a mistake or if you put your nose where it shouldn't be. So as you can see here, nice rhythm from everyone going through our second lap here, looking pretty good.
Yep, as we saw Kabanka make that pass on Chin and just kind of forced Chin off the racing line that allowed Schramm to follow Kabanka in. So give Nathaniel Schramm P4 as we continue on here with just really starting to work our second lap as we head down the back straight. And you see the gap has opened up there with a 1.5 second gap now. Mikey Pollard over Kane Lasky, followed by Kabanka, Schramm, Chin, Nazelli now running in P6, Tolo in 7th, Jason Green 8th, Boris Espin has dropped down to P9, Andrew Moran in P10, and I'm going to guess Andrew Moran was one of those cars that might have went a little wide. He didn't get a lap time last time, should be changing that this time as we get through there. But I don't see it just yet as now Moran has moved up to P9. Got a car around there. That is Boris Espin, our Spec 2 pole sitter. Got into some contact there with somebody. You want to get a replay of that to catch that. But I'm going to guess it's David Lehman because I just saw a meatball pop up as we see those two cars coming down through here. That and we see that's actually Guido on the inside there, and it's sympathy spin. Oh, great job there by Guido to miss that spinning car just in front as he gets through there. Lost a little bit of lost some momentum for sure. But now we're going to see the 513 and the 31 going at it, and the 513 just goes around on his own as cars do their best to avoid. So I'm not sure. I did not see Lehman make contact with anybody, but obviously has the meatball flag. So there was contact somewhere. We just didn't catch it in that replay.
Yeah, absolutely there. And Guido with the awesome avoidance there as well. He was also in a little battle of his own there. So good to kind of just switch minds there, and whoop, all of a sudden you have to avoid somebody instead of making that pass you were just about to do. It did throw him back in the pack a little bit here, so he's got some more work to do now. All kinds of passing happening all over here. I will bring you some replays of some of the passes here. Obviously, I believe you Simpkins here making some passing early on to make his way back up to the front, trying to get through the traffic in the back of the field here, and he's going to be able to make a couple passes. You can see the dust settling there from our first lap. Yep. He's going to get around Wayne Buttermore there quickly, but we'll bring you some more passes, and definitely that start sequence again, because there was a little bit of shenanigans there at the beginning for sure. Somebody's nose up in the air. I think it might have been Moran, but we'll try to bring you that as soon as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. As we saw Hughes kind of get blocked there a little bit by the 980 of Paul Tordeschi, as well as Wayne Buttermore. He has cleared both those cars, so he has now moved up to P25. He was up 7 positions already, so we knew Hughes would be a little quicker, obviously getting in here late, so it manages to get himself just in time to get through qualifying and start in the back as we're on board here with Tom Gradwell, as he is riding behind now Stevie Ray to the inside, makes that move to the inside. Nice pass there by Stevie as he cuts that inside line through the chicane, gets him clear, and gets past Tom Gradwell there. Tom's got Steve Pepper behind us. We're going to get another look here at Stevie just making that dart to the inside there at the very, late in here, late on the brakes, gets through and gets clear. Tom did not put up much of a fight. He realizes that that is not the time to be trying to go too wide. We're only on lap 4. So give Stevie up to now P17 as Lehman will be coming in. I think he's still out there just hoping he's going to run out his 3 laps under that mechanical black flag, the meatball, in order to get to the pits, and hopefully that will be enough time to get enough fuel on the car to finish the race without having to stop again, as we're getting a look here at our restart. And Josh, what did you find?
Yeah, it looks like, keep an eye on that blue car Moran, so he's just going to tick the side of the 513 there. Doesn't look like he took damage though, Charles, critically, so I think he's all right out there, and that's what I spied with my eye there. And you can see just watching the start sequence again how fanned out these FF cars are, and a really good job of all our drivers out there today to keep it clean through this first corner and this first sequence here. Just an excellent job. Looks beautiful.
Yep, kind of makes me wonder now that he had made contact with the 513 if maybe that caused a little damage to the left rear of Espin's car, and maybe that was the reason for the spin. But we'll see how long Espin is going to be able to hang out there. He has dropped down, obviously, down into P28, so he's down 20 positions as we continue back at the front. Pollard now leading over Kabanka and Schramm, but you see that gap is is actually that gap is growing as Pollard is now up to a 3-second gap over these two. So it makes me wonder if these guys maybe are in fuel save mode here. And we'll see if Pollard maybe lets off a bit. Obviously, fastest lap of the race, last lap, 112.625. As he has just set sail. He's trying to give himself a gap to maybe able to do a little lift and coast here without losing a position. So we get a good battle here with Schramm and Kubanka running down the front straight here, and Schramm decides the better of it and decides to pull back, as we did get a fight there behind them. Oh, and we got contact there. Oh no, that's Naselli, Lasky, and Chin all making contact with each other. They managed to break each other loose and get back out, but it looks like Chin's car has got some front end damage as we're riding on board there, and you see just too wide through the corner in one, and just basically ran out of room for these guys. And there you see Chin now still cutting some corners, as you see the left front with some pretty severe damage there. Not a meatball, strangely enough. Is that right? Oh no, it is a meatball now. So now there we see Jason Green with an avoidance there as well. So now Jason has the meatball on his car as well. So that's going to put him into the pits early. They still do have a fast repair to use, so they'll be able to get back out there. Jason will be able to get back out on the track. And he'll have some time to make up, as we're 8.5 minutes into this 40-minute event. You still see our second and third place cars of Kubanka and Schramm. That is a pretty tight battle there. A little further back, Jason Green has Dirk Braun and did have David Lehman, who is now in the pits, to get his car serviced. So I think he's thinking that with the 8-minute mark, he's going to take a gamble here, try and get into the pits, or this was the last opportunity for him to get in before he got the DQ. So pitting now on lap 7. Lehman in the pits. That relinquishes the Masters lead to Alan DeGassis running in P9. Jim Brewster in 11th is running just behind him, only about half a second or so, as that nice little pack there, led by Maurizio Naselli with DeGassis, Marzuki, Jim Brewster, Adrian Borowski in tow. So you see that nice little battle there as they continue on, and that's probably a good place to be. You want to get behind one of these fast cars and let him do a lot of the work up front. He can set the pace. Maurizio is very good at, this was the car off the track, very good at fuel saving. So he'll be able to set a good pace for those guys and keep them kind of in touch with the cars in front.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, losing some of our top fast drivers there in that incident, and something had to give. I think I was just thinking it before it happened. Everybody's so close together. Mikey Pollard basically running away with this one, as they're basically having to go defensive on each other so often. They're losing time every lap to Pollard, and something had to give there eventually, and unfortunately it did. Not really sure who got into who there. It did look like maybe Lasky and Naselli kind of getting some spatial awareness wrong there, or a little bit of braking wrong, perhaps. Not sure exactly. We'll let the stewards deal with that one, but nonetheless, kind of a bummer to see those drivers get knocked out here. So now don't have all of them up. Kane Lasky's going to be out in the pit, as well as Esman and Oyvind Anderson. I don't believe actually started this race here, but pretty good battle we're having all throughout the field here. Johan Asbeck under pressure, pressuring Wayne Buttermore right now, trying to get by him. Just behind that, you're going to find Nick Tullo as well. Has a little bit of speed too, maybe a little out of place today. Not the easiest track. I'm not sure how many other drivers really like this place. I've gotten kind of mixed feedback about it. You either kind of love it or hate it. I suppose that's every track, but there is a couple layouts of this one of them not being my favorite. I really do enjoy this particular layout with that chicane at the end. Makes things good if you ask me, but there is a couple that just aren't very good. Now I believe this is Dirk Braun, Jason Green here going for it, and Dirk Braun going to get that one up the inside.
Yep, absolutely is. I believe the car that we saw off the track a little bit earlier was Steve Pepper. He had a meatball flag when I checked timing and scoring, and he is in the pits and has stopped and is back out. So Steve Pepper back out on the track as he is in the 221 car, so down in P30. As we look forward here, as we see Dirk Braun with that good move to move in front of Jason Green. And Dirk is trying to set sail there, as we're going to get a look here from Steve Pepper's viewpoint. It's just a little sideways, carrying that slip angle and too much of the dirt on the outside,
bummer.
and puts it into the barrier there with the right front, and that broke the car, and into the pits he goes. So we are continuing on here as we're back with this battle between Green and Braun, and I don't know that Jason is all that interested in pulling back in front, as he's probably doing the fuel saving as well in the first part of this race, as we see this nice battle here. This group here with the gases, and Marzuki, Brewster, Meesters, Gradwell, and now Maurice Nozelli drops into the pit. So he's into the pits early, thinking undercut strategy here, as Maurice comes into the pits at the 12.5-minute mark. So I think that feels like that's a good time to come in. I think the pit window should be open as we go through here, and we're back on board with Guido, as he is now running in P10. He has Borowski and Alan DeGassis just in front of him. And they're about 4 seconds behind the battle we were looking at earlier between Green and Braun. So we still have a couple of really nice battles being put out here. Now Josh Justice and Tom Gradwell have kind of joined the back of this group. Now close that gap down under a second. So now we're in about a 7-car pack here, as Justice has brought Tom Gradwell with him as well. So 7-car group here, and you see the 904 of DeGassis being passed by Borowski, sliding in front, as I think DeGassis is just willing to let him go. Obviously, Borowski has shown great amounts of speed, and every car that he's ran is obviously a newcomer to the series. He's come in and done well in every car that we ran this season. So I don't blame DeGassis at all to just let him go. If he wants to lead, let him lead, and we'll do some fuel saving. Here comes Stevie Ray. So now we can officially say the pit window is open as Stevie comes in for his stop here at the 14-minute mark.
Yep, Stevie Ray's in. That means it's time to come in. A little early for Mauricio Nocelli there. He did fill up about 17 seconds, stopped in the box about 39 seconds for the entire pit road. That's one we're going to want to keep an eye on here, just kind of setting the bar early for how much fuel one needs to take, how long it's going to take to be in the pit. Stevie Ray now passing that 17-second mark to 19 seconds, so a little bit longer, and there, of course, there is one more lap of fuel that he used. Might have to take a little bit more, or perhaps, just taking different strategy there. Nocelli maybe saving a little bit, Stevie not wanting to. I personally don't like saving fuel. I just like to put as much as I need in and step on it. It makes things a lot easier for my brain to handle out there for sure, but there is a lot of different strategy out there, and we'll keep an eye on those pit times as they come to us. Usually, in these races, from my experience, in these 40-minute races, you're going to start pitting around the 15-minute mark-ish. Anything before that, and you may not be able to actually even put enough fuel to finish the race. Now, that all depends, of course, on your driving style and particular course, how much power you're actually having to lay down a lap, but that's going to be a little close here, and I think maybe Stevie Ray pitting at basically exactly the right time, as he usually does. They're going to get in, maybe undercut a couple drivers. Having a look up the inside there of Jim Brewster, Rich Meesters decided to back out of it a little bit. Not exactly the place you want to stick a nose in. You want to be at least halfway alongside through this section here if you're going to try to make any kind of a move at all. And I mean, realistically, Charles, if you're halfway alongside, try to make a move, it's just going to be slow for both of you. You're not going to get by. It's a bit of a waste of time, and you're going to put yourself backwards. But coming up on the spot where you can get something done right through here, you're going to want to set this one up as good as possible, and he did. Get a good line there. Rich Meesters did. It looks like he will have a run on Jim Brewster. Not sure if he's going to be able to get that one done into the chicane, but that's usually the best spot on Donnington International to get it done here, probably into T1 or into the final corner, unless you can force a mistake somewhere, which happens for sure. You get some off tracks and a slowdown and get a couple positions that way, maybe intimidate somebody into a move or two. Nobody else taking pits yet, though. Critically still running out there. Mikey Pollard up front now, 5.8 seconds from the last time I looked was about 4.5, so he is slowly charging away into the distance here from Kabanka and Nathaniel Schramm, who are battling with each other. Doesn't look like they're really fighting super hard, Charles, but maybe trying to catch up here as much as they can and not battle super hard. Not sure if it's going to happen today, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure because Mikey Pollard is not letting up. Just ran, again, the fastest lap of the race, 112.42. So he's not saving anything. He is absolutely running as hard as he can. So he is trying to extend that gap out. But just to give you another little bit of feedback there, Maurice Unicelli did come in. David Lehman came in 13.2 stop. Guido came in last lap with a 15.6. So there are some kind of strategies being played out. I don't know that 15.6. I think David Lehman with the 13.2 maybe just means he couldn't get enough fuel in the car. He may have to stop again. And then Stevie Ray, as we mentioned, with a 19, is probably just him taking extra laps worth of fuel. It kind of feels like that's about 2 seconds per lap, I think, is what we normally put into play in our minds as we talk about these fuelings on these cars, as we still have a great battle here with Schramm and Kabanka running second and third. They've started pulling a gap over Moran's second and a half back to him and Tortolo. Dirk Braun running in sixth, still has Jason Green in tow, but they've lost about a second and a half to the cars in front as well. So field spreading out here as some cars are coming in, breaking these big packs up just a little bit. The pack that we saw there with Borowski has Borowski's actually just checked out. The gas is 2 seconds off the back. He's still got Jim Brewster, Josh Justice, Rich Meesters, and Tom Bradwell involved, so it's still a 5-car pack there. But Borowski says, I can't wait around on you. I got to go. As we ride through the chicane there with Christian Kabanka, and you see just how much of that curb you have to take to be quick through there. And it's not the nicest ride there. It's a little bit rough.
No.
As it's kind of reading a Facebook Marketplace ad for a jacked up El Camino that says rides like a cinder block. So I think that's kind of what I was just experiencing there, watching those two guys coming through the chicane.
Yeah, absolutely. My back's hurting just watching that one as the rear end of the car is up in the air. You belly slap that curb. I mean, your cheeks are probably about 4 inches off the pavement on one of these things, and there's maybe 2.5 inches of metal underneath you, and then a seat, and so you're gonna feel everything. I would imagine in a corner like that, and yeah, that'd be a little bit painful. Looking at our gains right now, Joshua Justice up 13 positions to get where he is there in 11th. Dustin Diaz up another 13. Phil Berry up 10. Paul Jackson up 12. Wayne Buttermore up 12. Amazing drive. Nick Tullo up 12. Pretty awesome stuff there for sure. I did actually just notice before you Simpkins went in, he was up 15 as well. So but where he is right now in 27th, not totally representative of the position he's actually in. He did just pit. So doing a great job out there. We'll see if we can't get to some of those passes. Maybe we find some interesting passing replays there for you guys to check out. But I also have the sector times down here below. You can see they are pulling away here. Pullard pulling away from Schramm and Kabanka, leaving them behind a little bit every lap. And that's just going to be, again, to probably battling a little bit. You know, they maybe don't have the overall lap time that Pollard has. You might be able to use the draft, but if you even mess that up a little bit, you know, in the draft or get beside each other, then you end up losing a tenth. And that seems to be what's happening here, as they're now proving me wrong, gaining 1/10 through the first sector on Pollard and almost 3/10 for Kabanka. So, I mean, if you play your cards right, it might be doable, right, Charles? If you really, really do it. But I think maybe Pollard actually has the overall raw pace today, and that's going to be very difficult to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. As looking at their last lap times, 112.2 for Pollard. Both Schramm and Kabanka ran a 112.7, so a half-second gap. But you see still watching those sector times, Pollard faster than those two guys in Sector 1, but slower than those two guys in Sector 2. So the draft is helping a little bit here as we go. But it's at least, if nothing else, is keeping them kind of in the fight as you look at the lap times there. As they are just seemingly losing time lap after lap. That last lap, virtually identical, 66, 70, and 12.69 there for the top three. Actually, Andrew Moran with a 12.58, Tortolo with a 12.57. So those two guys are actually catching up, or within a second now of P2 and 3. So that's going to give them a 4-car pack to run with as we see Jason Green making his stop. He is now in the pits. That's a very long stop for Jason, 22.3.
Yeah.
Not really sure if that was what he had planned, but that is kind of kind of a little out of sorts there for Jason Green. Not usually expecting him to. He's usually one of those guys that that works that fuel number pretty well, but that just seems once again seems like an outlier for him.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. Maybe perhaps he knows something we do not. That personally, if I was out there and I saw that time, I would be a little worried about it
Yeah.
if I was me, even if I was in a bit longer, just because Jason Green usually gets this right. So I'd be like, oh no, did I get something wrong? Because Jason Green usually gets it right, but that is a pretty detrimental time there. 44.4 is going to be our longest time in the pit, maybe other than Paul Koredeshi there with a 50. Yeah, I mean, that's a good 2-3 seconds off of even the next time closest to him in competitive terms there. So should be it's going to be an interesting one to watch here. We'll see who got it right, who got it wrong here, but it does vary a little bit, like we said, but not quite that much, does it, Charles? That's not going to be just because you have a heavy foot. You're not going to burn that much fuel. So it'll be interesting to see who got it right, who got it wrong here. But Mikey Pollard still running away at the front here. Nathaniel Schramm, Christian Kabanka, and Andrew Moran, as well as Tortello, all in a row here now, caught up the 31 and the 92, the 78 and the 20. So it is a 4-car battle for that second position now. The end of the race, 23 minutes into this one, into a 40-minute race here. Pit stop cycles, about half the field through now, maybe close to half the field through. So still have some people to go out there critically, still our lead drivers here. So I'm not sure who's going to blink first, but these pit stops, it's something you really do have to practice out there as well. If you don't practice them, they can really catch you out. Some more battling here at the front. They are not happy with just being where they are anymore. Don't think they're too worried about Mikey Pollard anymore. Now they want to fight for position. So the 78 and the 90 going at it.
Yep, as we just saw Nate Schramm there with a slowdown coming through the chicane, cut too much, and had to drop out of the lead of this pack down to the back of the pack, but it's still in the pack, and that's the important thing. I do want to just kind of get you to take a look. Saw a double meatball pop up between Guido Marzucchi and Nick Tullo. So you might want to see if there might have been an incident there, as I think both cars went into the pits roughly the same time. Both
There's a lot of red markers here, Charles. This isn't looking good.
So,
this might be it.
So as we're going to get a replay here, and we're on board with Nick Tullo there, and that is the 44. Nazelli behind him. Oh, and just turns. And there's a net code contact. Oh, that was so bad. That was a massive amount of net code there that caught Guido out. As we're going to get another look here, we see Tullo coming through, and just the slightest of taps there with Maurizio. He tried to lock it down, could not get the car stopped, and you saw the massive amount of net code there as contact from the iRacing system said they were going to wreck, and so that's what net code is. And so it gave him the contact and the incident there, and I believe that Guido has called it a day. I think Nick is still out there, but he's well off the pace in 28th. But yeah, I think Guido is decided that it was not going to be worth getting back out there, as we see Phil Berry now coming into the pits from his position, a few positions up from where that P15 is. So he is now in there, and I do see a black flag, and I think that's Koredeshi. The black flag, that's going to be for incident points, as he's been in the wars a bit today. So he's going to come in and serve that a little bit later, as I think a little over halfway or so for our cars for pit stops, as we now have a couple more. We got Wayne Buttermore, Dustin Diaz, Jason Grider coming into the pits as well. But the top 11 have not pitted. Mikey Pollard is pitted. We missed that, but 16.5 stoppage time for Mikey. So he's got to come in and got his fuel, given up the track position, and is now down in P12. So now Andrew Morant leads this group of four, and this is our lead group here until they come in for their pit stop, as we see more pit stops occurring. Meesters and Gradwell, two of our top four in the Masters class, coming into the pits. DeGasse is now leading the Masters in P7. Joaquin Osbeck currently leading Spec 2 in P11, and has Paul Jackson right behind him, as he is running as well up there just behind in 12th, as now Naselli, who is already pitted, is starting to work his way up through, and that gap is pretty significant Unfortunately, between Pollard and Nazelli, those guys already pitting, but that gap is like 20 seconds or something like that. So as a quick rough math there, as we are now, there's another car coming in. That is Christian Kabanka coming in. So make that 3 cars on the front group as Kabanka relinquishes his position, coming down pit road for his stop as we're at the 27-minute mark. So I figure 2 more laps, maybe 3, for most of the rest of the drivers out there as Borowski comes in, Alan DeGasses comes in. So we'll be finishing our pit stops here very shortly, and then we'll have 10 minutes of very hard racing, but I think it's going to be for second and third as opposed to for the race win today.
Yeah, I think so. Christian Kabanka with a 15.6. Not a bad pit stop there. Again, going to be a little bit less fuel maybe to put in at this stage of the race, so that might reflect that a little bit. You know, I noticed earlier there, I believe it was our leader Mikey Pollard went in 16.4. I forget who it was now earlier, had a 17.7, and they came out though at critically at exactly the same pace. So they both had about a 39.5. So Pollard really optimizing the pit lane today, able to actually knock a second off that as well. Pretty cool stuff. So definitely it's going to matter, how much you charge that pit stop as well. And of course, we know if you do go even just a little bit too fast over the line, it is a massive race-ending penalty. Yeah. So pushing it, can be pretty dangerous out there. You don't necessarily want to push it too much, but we are definitely running on fumes out there for these 3 guys. So they're going to have to come in real soon now before Joshua Justice actually grabbing himself a black flag after moving up an intense amount of positions here today. I believe, up 17 positions, but going to get a black flag now. So that is going to sting. That's going to sting a lot.
Yeah, speaking of that pit entry speeding penalty that you get, I think that's what we just got from Josh Justice, unfortunately. Yeah, I think so. He is in the pits now. So it might have been incident points, but I don't think so. And I think I think he's done. So I think that's exactly what that was, is the 40 seconds for speeding on pit entry. And as you said, it is pretty much a competitive race over at that point, and Josh agrees, and he says, I'm done with it. So he'll drop out of that, but had a good run, was up a lot of positions there during the race, and just unfortunately one little mistake, and that's pretty much the end of that. As these guys now, we're at the 29-minute mark here. Dirk Braun's coming into the pits. Mikey Pollard now will be sliding up into P4. Jim Brewster now up into P6, leading the Masters group. Obviously still pit stops for Brewster. Joaquin Osbeck, Josh Justice actually just came in. Joaquin Osbeck still yet a pit, as we are now looking. Hugh Simpkins up 13 spots. He's back up to P19. He's a few seconds behind Paul Jackson, so he's still got work left to do, but running a pretty good pace, so he is quite quick back there in that position. So here comes Braun and Brewster and Osbeck. They're all coming in. Braun now going out as more pit stops, and now we're down to the final 3, which is our 3 up front as Andrew Moran, Tortolo, Nate Schramm. The last 3 to pit, and we'll come in and we'll let Mikey Pollard probably have the lead back again. We'll see what the gaps are, but just kind of looking there, you can see that 7.5 second gap between Kabanka and Pollard kind of gives you an indicator of what those are going to be, unless somebody does a flyer here and takes a really quick stop. As Tortolo and Moran come in, Nate Schramm out for one more lap, so he's going to carry that one more time around, and he will probably come in the next time. But you see Tortolo and Moran in the pits there, as Pollard is now moving through and back into P2, as these guys are back
identical
out.
Pit times.
See what that's identical pit time. Yeah, almost down to the 100th there. So very, very close there between Tortolo and Moran as they get back out, and they're just in front of Christian Kabanka. So they've jumped back out to their normal running position. As we look further down the order, Maurizio Naselli is 12 seconds off that group. He has Borowski in tow, and then Jason Green and David Lehman 5 more seconds back. So Green was one of those guys that were kind of running up in that top 5, is going to, because of the slow stop, is now running in P8. So now the question is did everybody take enough fuel? Kind of feels like everybody did, maybe with the exception of Lehman. And we'll see. Here comes Schramm in for his stop, and we'll see what the gap is when he comes out to Mikey Pollard, who will take over the race lead, re-inherit that. But we'll see by how much here in just a few seconds.
Yep, absolutely. So pretty much our pit cycle is done now. Of course, Mikey Pollard going to re-inherit the lead here. You can see him coming down the front straightaway. Andrew Moran, Nathaniel Schramm still in the pit, so he does still have that lead. Just looking back at my ticker there, Charles, and I do believe it was actually incident points for Joshua Justice. So just before you went into the pit lane, he did have an off track. I believe it was his final off track in that line that you're allowed to get here. I believe it's 13X. And then you get a drive through. So he did drive through. He served that, went out, did another lap or two, and then came in for fuel. So he is still actually in 17th place. He only lost. His pit stop was actually about a 38. About a 38. So that's indicative, that's definitely going to be about as much as a pit stop should be. And that drive through before was only a few seconds. So it was just a drive through on that one. Luckily, so unfortunately, kind of the same result, to be honest. He is in 17th place now, and he was way up there, but maybe not quite as bad as it would have been. That 40-second hold plus another gas, having to fill up with gas would have put him in 28th place easily. So he is still in 17th, able to hold on to it here. Mikey Pollard with that gap still from Nathaniel Schramm there, so about 5 seconds back. I think we looked at it earlier. It was about 5.8, so it is rubber banding a little bit, but not enough to really do anything about it there. You're not going to find much of a race until you get back to Tortullo and Christian Kabanka, who are fighting for that 4th place. Maybe able at the end there to catch Andrew Moran in the end, but he is about 2.2 seconds ahead. That was my little doggy there barking in the background, if anybody heard that. Scully saw something outside, I think.
Yeah, as Schramm has actually jumped out a little bit. So a very quick stop for Schramm. 12.4 is by far the fastest we've seen on pit road today. So Gabe is giving Schramm P2 all by himself. But as you said, 5.5 second gap up to Mikey Pollard, who is relentless at the front of this field, just continuing to add to his margin here as we do see this 3-car battle here. Moran, Tullo, and Kabanka. So this is the battle for P3. So we are going to have a little bit of a battle there for that final step on the podium. And we'll see if these guys can track down Schramm and make it a 4-car battle for the final 2 spots on the podium, as they are closing that gap down. So we'll see if they can get it done here as we are in the closing minutes here. About 5 minutes left to go. So I'm going to say 5 laps when we come next time by. As these laps are just a little over a minute 12 to a minute 13 for most of these drivers. So it is winding down very quickly here. Just a quick recap. David Lehman actually still running in their Masters lead, running in P9. Joaquin Osbeck. Oh, and that is Hugh Simpkins deep there through the old hairpin as he comes around, gets that car through the gravel, hangs in there, stays with it, and that's going to drop him down. He's lost at least 3 positions there, as you see, back out on the track. And we'll get another look here at Paul Cordeshi as he is working his way through once again into the dirt there just before the curb start. Just a little bit open there on entry, and here comes Just as well as he's coming back up the hill in through turn 5 and just
looks like a hardware failure almost.
Wide. Yeah, it almost looked like a hardware failure or a lag or something. Could quite
maybe his dog barked at him.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe you had to check. Maybe you had to check see if there was a package there or something. But Just running that car a little wide there, gets it back out on the track and continues on.
Yeah, looks like he's going to get that one going there. No problem. Sorry, go ahead, Charles.
No, that's okay. As we are still there, as I was just saying, Lehman still leading in Masters, Osbeck now leading in Spec 2. And this kind of does feel, because of the technical nature of this, that the Masters guys have a little bit of advantage over those Spec 2 drivers today. So it looks like the Masters guys have done really well, as we've got 5 in the top 14.
Yeah, absolutely. Osbeck actually out there getting it done today. Good to see him in winning position here for S2. I see him. I've raced him many times. Very clean racer, really nice guy. And he's, he doesn't get the win often. He a lot of the time he gets a lot of falling anvils, the poor guy. So hopefully he can transfer this one to a win. Looks like we got some more black flags and meatballs here just showing up. Adrian Borowski with a black flag, Mauricio Naselli with a black flag in the pit, and Wayne Buttermore with a meatball flag. So not great right there, as we're on board with Johan Mosbeck here going through some of the more difficult sections of the track. It's easy. We saw a couple people kind of go off. I think that Hugh Simpkins there was some kind of a hardware failure. His wheel just kind of boom, just went sort of dead and straight for a minute. And then it seemed to come back on, so maybe something like that. But it is easy, as you get further into this race, you sort of get lulled into submission a bit. Maybe you get a little bit lazy. The course starts to get a little easy, especially when you're in this position, right, Charles? There's nobody in front of you, and you're kind of just clicking laps off. Sort of get a little bit hypnotized sometimes, and you just touch a bit of grass, and whoop, all of a sudden you're facing backwards. And I think that's what we saw happen to Paul there, unfortunately. And it's really easy to do here as we're seeing him get through that final section here now. We will investigate as to what happened to Mauricio Naselli and Wayne Buttermore here. Not sure what happened, and I'm not seeing too much of an indication here, but I'll get back to you on that one, Charles.
Yeah, I think that you're going to find that Naselli and Borowski were with each other there, and both of them got meatballs right at about the same, or I'm sorry, black flags right about the same time. So there might have been a little contact between those two cars as we get this look here, and there's Buttermore, there is Naselli, and there is the 13 of Borowski, and there it is, Wayne Buttermore getting loose, and that basically cost a meatball for Buttermore, and black flags for Naselli, as well as Borowski here. Another look as Naselli just tried to take it to the inside there, had a good run through. And I think it would have been clear had Buttermore not lost the rear there on the curbs. But I mean, that's a tough one there as you're trying to make up time. That's a tough pill to swallow there as you cut to the inside of a fairly difficult corner and try and make that move around. It just didn't pay off for him. So unfortunately for all three of those cars, I think Borowski has taken his drive-through and is back out. But I know Naselli basically towed straight back to the pits, and I think has left the race. So we will continue to watch the rest of this here, as I believe we'll be coming down the white flag. So let's find our leader here and see where he is on the track. There we go, as he is going to take the white flag this lap. So here we go, one more to go, and it is Mikey Pollard, 6.3 second gap over the P2 of Schramm. And you see him come through, as well as the other three of Moran, Tolo, and Kabanka, as that gap has not closed nearly quick enough. And now they're going to open it up as they try to go three wide through turn one. And there's the 31 to the inside, the 90 on the outside. And here comes the 78 looking for anything he can find as well. But it's going to stay Moran. It's going to stay Tolo and Kabanka there. That is P3 through P5. As Schramm has got about 2 second gap, so I think he's clear from these guys unless he makes a mistake. And Nate Schramm is usually not one of those that would make a mistake. As we now get the battle here again between Moran and Tolo here, working their way through this corner. And here we go into this blind right-hander, and it's still Moran as Tolo backs out, kind of checks up Kabanka a little bit there. Does a crossover, so gets a good run down to the inside. So great move by Tolo. He's going to have the inside line coming down into the final chicane here, as Mikey Pollard is going to get the race victory. Nate Schramm is going to get P2. Who's going to get P3 as all three of those cars come through. And, it's Moran just getting it a little loose, and it's going to be Tortello with the third place, I believe. Or have we got there yet? No, now we are. So there we go, as Tolo just pips Kabanka. Moran finishes in fifth, and very, very close racing there in the late stages as we wait for the rest of our field to come through. Here comes Jason Green to come around and pick up P6. Dirk Braun will be the next one through.
David he's sputtering. Lehman's sputtering.
Oh, no. Is he going to make it?
He's going to make it. Oh, it's a close one between Meesters and Lehman at the end.
Very close there. Lehman just with enough fuel after that early stop after the meatball to win the Masters class. So congrats to David for that. as we now get Joaquin Osbeck, who is going to win Spec 2. Finishing in 14th overall as the rest of our field comes through, but a little bit of excitement there at the end. But, a really good race from our FF drivers today, Josh, on a what I would say is a fairly difficult track.
Yeah, absolutely. Mikey Pollard taking the win today there. A little bit of shenanigans near the end with Mauricio Naselli there, unfortunately. Trying to get through some traffic again. I think Buttermore doing his very best to try to get out of the way there. Naselli getting a little target fixed into it, and they just found the same piece of track. Mikey Pollard celebrating here in the 73 across the line. He's super happy about that one. Definitely a good win for him today. Sorry we didn't catch you coming across the line. Had to make sure we get back and grab that replay of him coming across the line with the celebrations there. For sure, what a great race he put on for us today. Nathaniel Stram will take second. Torth Tullo will take third in that final lap, and we're getting some people crashing their vehicles across the line here. Maybe we'll have another quick peek here just at that final battle between I believe that was Andrew Moran, Christian Cabanca, and Tor Tullo here. Pretty awesome stuff side by side right to the end. Cabanca, I would have been just salivating watching this, waiting for them to maybe touch each other, and he does actually end up being able to squeeze a position out of it there as well, waiting in the wings, and was able to get it, almost actually able to get by Tortello at the very end by the line there. So some great racing to the line from those two drivers, and what a show for the FFs today, man. The Summer Series again proving to be some pretty spectacular driving out there, man. I'm here for it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great race today, as we had yet another great race with the Formula Fords here in Donnington Park, and just absolutely fantastic, and a great finish there for the final podium position. As we're starting to get some drivers in the waiting room here, as we're getting some our normal carnage here, as he just jumps everything and slides through. I guess he was aiming for the wall there on the chicane. There we go. There's some other drivers who found it. Paul Jackson, as well as at the 899 as well, of Dan Stasinski, sending it there in through the wall here. If we're getting the replay. Oh, and that's green. I saw green turning down there at the end of the race. And there we go, more carnage, and we get the
Stasinski with the salacious crash.
Great,
wow.
And this sticks the landing. So great job by Dan there. This is what we do at the end of every race. These cars get torn up, they get rebuilt, and we do it again next week, obviously in the MX5s for next week's race, so our builders have a little more time to work on the cars. So let's go ahead and I'll bring in Nate Schramm, who finished second today overall, second in Spec 1, as we'll have a chat with him. If Mikey comes in, we'll have a chat with him as well. But let's go ahead and bring Nathaniel down into the chat here and bring him. I got him. Nathaniel, congratulations on the P2. It was pretty much the Mikey Pollard show from the get-go today, but you and several others there had a pretty nice battle there until the pit stop.
Yeah, Mikey was just absolutely insane. Hats off to him. He just had the pace, and he basically took us to school here. I don't know if that's some homegrown, prowess or whatnot, but no, I just got lucky saving fuel behind Christian. I knew that was my only way to really stay in it and get that podium, so that's what I committed to, and that's what worked out in the end. I sputtered across the line, so.
Well, there you go. At least you made it across in second place, and had a little bit of a gap there from the short pit stop. It was a couple seconds quicker than everybody else. So, you obviously, as you just told us, cut it pretty close there. But so give me your thoughts about the FF here at Donnington. We've had some, obviously, some really good races here, primarily in the spec racer, but I don't remember quite the battle that we saw here in the Formula Fords, especially from that pack that you were in.
Oh, it was great. I mean, this car, it just feels natural to drive around here. It's super fast, but super technical. And then when you're racing up close, open wheels, you really can't afford too much touching and everything. It's just, really, really solid old school racing is what it feels like to me.
There you go. So next week we will be in the MX5s at the Charlotte Roval. So that is our next round 8. Obviously, the MX-5 is kind of our wild card car for the season, but I think the Charlotte Roval is pretty well known to most everybody who drives these SCCA modeled cars. So should just be a matter of getting in the car and getting used to it on that track.
Yeah, I think it's the same layout we ran in Spec Racer Ford last season. So pretty familiar with that. Hopefully I don't cause a massive pile up on lap 1 like I did last season. But no, I think the car is going to be great through there. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, lots of hairpins to deal with going onto the banking. And then the chicanes. I don't know if we'll be able to, hit them as hard as we do in the Spec Racer, but we'll find out.
No, probably not, but a lot more door banging than what we would normally see. So I think that's going to make for some good racing, I think. So, yes. Nathaniel, thanks for popping in. We'll give you a moment to give some thanks and shout outs. I know obviously the Schrammers in the chat, I'm sure are there in force to watch you every week. So I'm sure that there's probably a few out there today as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast as always, and like to thank Stevie and the guys for putting the league on. I'd like to thank the chat for watching. Always good to see the comments. I'd like to thank my team, Three Oceans Racing, and our sponsors, Turner Machine Development and Gager and Sons Power Systems. Yeah, just really fun racing today.
There you go. Nathaniel Shrimp, thank you so much for stopping in. We'll see you next week at Charlotte.
Thank you.
It's Nathaniel Shrimp, second place finisher today. So Josh, we got a couple other options out there. So who would you like to have a chat with?
Yeah, maybe we'll bring in, let's bring in Rich Meesters here and see how his race went this afternoon. If you could grab him for me, Charles. Hand's a little bit busy here absolutely. On production.
Can absolutely do it. We're dragging down right now.
Rich, this is a pretty fun track, isn't it? We've been here before. You did pretty good out there today, making some positions up. Looked like you had some speed as well. Maybe you could tell us a little about it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was, I guess, trying to just find my way, learning a little bit as I went along. I haven't raced this track in a while, so part of it was just kind of figuring out where to go in the corners and whatnot. But it was pretty good. Almost caught David with the Thompson Trophy there, but just missed out by a couple of seconds, I guess.
Yeah, able to grab that, critically though, grab that second place in class today. Not an easy one with so many cars around here making up positions and so on as well. I've always really liked this place. You can find a rhythm around here. It can be really fun, but man, it can bite you if you get off rhythm.
Yeah, I was kind of hyper aware of where Tom and Jim were because I knew their proximity to me in the standings. So was kind of a little bit of staying with them and not overreaching myself and trying to make sure that I just drove the track and the line and made sure that I wasn't pushing it too hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely what you want to do in the FF, push a little too hard and it will bite you or your competitors for that matter. We did see a little bit of attrition today. Next week, we are headed to the Charlotte Roval in the MX-5s. Will you be joining us for that one? And is that something you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah, I'll be there. As far as I know, I don't think I'm off next weekend anywhere, so going to give it a shot. MX-5 is probably not my favorite, but it'll be an interesting one. It depends too on which version of the Roval we're driving as well, kind of what the corners look like. So the infield is a little different depending on the version that we run there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'll look that up while we're still chatting here and giving. Maybe you can give us some thanks but before the next race here. Who'd you like to thank?
Sure. Well, thanks again, obviously, to you guys for putting this on, and to the Weekend Warriors. This has been such a blast this summer season, I think, and thanks to the Cool Camel Racing team. Steve was out again today. I know James was off doing something else today, but good to have them out. And thanks to the Almeida Racing Academy as well.
Yeah, excellent, man. Right on. Well, we will catch you next week in the MX-5s. Great race today, Rich. Awesome stuff out there. I think you're going to like the replay. It was a good one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Always watch it, so it'll be good to watch it back. We'll see you later.
Excellent. Thanks, man.
Rich.
Have a good week.
And that was Rich Meesters, who finished second in the Masters class today. Two more. I'm going to go ahead and grab in Tortolo and bring him down so we can talk about that finish as we close out these interviews. Tor, congratulations, P3 today, and you had to work for it. That last lap was between you, Moran, and Kabanka was something very special, and I love that little crossover you made coming onto the back straight to get that inside position, which I think was the key to that, but still not the easiest chicane to try and go too wide through.
Man, first and foremost, I got to give the biggest props possible to Andrew. I did not have the pace today, but he brought me up right to the podium battle and was really respectful right until the end, and just so much respect for the guy. And yeah, it was a great fun move at the end there. It almost perfectly replicated my win there in real life back in April, so I kind of got a kick out of that.
But there you go. So bring back some good memories there as we continue. I just, it's I've talked to you so many times now. I'm just run out of questions.
You're so good.
Obviously, absolutely. Just such a great driver. So obviously, you got a win here in real life in the Formula V, right? So kind of talk about running a Formula Ford here, even though it's an iRacing, but just kind of talk about the differences between these two cars.
Well, honestly, compared to like the iRacing Ford and like the real life V and stuff like that, there's not that much difference as much as you think. It handles really similar. If anything, I think the Ford handles more like a real life V than the actual V. And yeah, it was just it kind of got nostalgic driving it, and it's my home track, and I absolutely love it, and yeah, just so much fun today.
There you go. So next week it will be at the Charlotte Roval in the MX5. I think Josh is trying to figure out which one. Obviously, the new one or the
That's
old
the 2025 layout.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So it's the newest version, which is a probably, I don't know, maybe a little easier with the exception, I guess, of the hairpin getting back onto the oval section. So what are your thoughts about it?
See, me personally, I'm much more of a 2018 Charlotte Roval kind of guy, but I love the MX-5. I've won a championship in it, and yeah, I'm just hoping to be right up with these wonderful, quick people, and hopefully have some fun.
All right, Tor. So once again, congratulations on the P3, and we'll give you a chance to give any thanks or shout outs before we let you go.
As usual, thank you to Necronival. A big shout out to my dad, to Rumpy, to all the lovely people that I raced with today. And again, a big shout out to Andrew. He saved my race today, and a lot of respect to the guy.
There you go. Tortello, thank you very much for stopping by, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
All right, there we go. Tortello, our P3 finisher. And Josh, one more. It is our buddy Jim Brewster. We're going to bring him down. Final chat of the day, and we'll close it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim, great race out there today. Looks like you snagged yourself a P3 in Masters. Some hard-fought battles out there. We did catch you on screen a few times. Maybe tell us a little about it.
Well, we were all bunched up together, following somebody that bunched us up for the first half of the race, and I've learned my lesson. And the next time I get bunched up behind somebody, I'm jumping in the pit and going to gas early. So that, as you saw, the first half of the race, a bunch of us really close together. But then we came out, and I had Tom and Rich there. I didn't know that Rich was second. I thought I was guessing Rich was leading. I thought maybe I'd gotten second. I can't remember who won, but he was out of sight. So
David
anyway.
Lehman.
Yeah, and so yeah, great day. I'm not a Formula Ford racer. I enjoy them a lot, and I to be honest, you know what it is, Josh, you know this.
What's that?
I worked at it this week. I did work.
Yeah, that's true. That's what it is. I know it.
You just go out and you work. There's no cheating. You just work.
Yep.
And that's what I did.
That's what I have to do for sure. If I don't get out there and put a couple hours in, at least 2 hours, sometimes, if I can get two-hour sessions a week, I definitely am a little bit more dangerous on the racing for sure. I'm a little bit faster and more confident, and I think that's the key to these for sure, especially somewhere like Donnington, I would think, Jim.
Yeah, you really got to get the lines just right. And but anyway, it was a lot of fun. Great bunch of guys. It was great to have the Masters together. Fighting with each other. And I don't think we made much contact. Well, there was one piece of contact. We were lapping Wayne, and things got ugly in the chicane, and so I missed having 1X. I had 1X most of the race, but a few of us were trying to pass Wayne at the same time in the chicane, and things happened. But other than that, great day. But anyway, good to hear from you guys. Hi, Tam, and I'll see you guys next week. We're going to be
Just on board with your start here quickly, Jim. I just rewound it for everybody to see. You had quite the mega start here as well, almost taking to the grass there to continue by a few drivers. Crazy. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Even had a car hop right in front of you there. But we are headed out to the Roval next week at almost. I think somebody got a little bit of damage there, perhaps right at the beginning. But we're headed out to Charlotte Roval next weekend in the MX-5. You gonna be joining us for that one?
Yeah, but I'm out of town for the week, so I had to do some homework early, and then when I get back Saturday night, I got to bust in some homework. I don't know that new version, and it's weird, that new version of the infield, where you come up over the hill and you're flat, and then you're just sliding, but then you're going to the hairpin, and you're sliding to the left when you got to get it coming down and flip it. It's a little bit of a Scandinavian flick rally move, because you're sliding in one direction, and then you got to get it on the brakes and on the nose to get the apex for the hairpin, and that hairpin is where a lot of bad things happen there. So
yep, very true. Right on, man. We'll let you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Charles.
I was just going to map yourself an e-brake button on your...
yeah, there you go, yeah. Get that back end out.
The Miata's back end is out more than enough.
There you go, yeah. Doesn't need a whole lot of help, does it? Yeah.
Some people call it loose. I would call it very neutral. It's very neutral.
Right on, Jim.
Anyway,
okay,
see you guys
cool.
Next week. Have a good week.
Thanks for the kind words,
thanks,
man. We'll check you next week. Have a good one.
All right. There he goes, Jim Brewster. Our final interview today. Josh, great race again. Donnington Park never disappoints. Our Formula 4 drivers never disappoint. Great battles throughout the field. And as we talked about, the MX-5s at the Charlotte Roval, the new configuration of the Charlotte Roval next week.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's not where it ends either here. American Muscle Series will be coming back on Tuesday, October, wow, a little ahead of myself there, August 4th at 9 p.m. Coda NASCAR West. I have absolutely no practice whatsoever. I don't think I'm going to be making that one, unfortunately. My back is pretty healed up now, but just haven't been able to get in the rig, so I probably won't be there. But, of course, Ron Maunz taking production on that one. Jeremy Scott and Adam Thompson will be your call on that one. Then Tuesday, August 4th, Portland for the SRGF 4 Series. Me on production there as well with our boys Ron Maunz, and I believe James McDonald's back for that one as well, so that should be pretty cool. F3 Adelaide. Really looking forward to the guys at Adelaide. That is going to be an awesome race on Wednesday, August 5th, and then we're back here, Charlotte Roval, like we were just talking about with the Ray Esports Summer Series on August 9th at 3:30, and then of course we re-rack do it all again. We do have also the GT3 Rick Motec Challenge at Sebring coming on August 13th, and that'll be close. I believe there's one more round after that, and we may have a few more and some more things coming our way from them as well. But Charles, that was a pretty awesome race out there today. Donnington kind of never seems really to disappoint, and neither do the FF drivers and the Weekend Warriors. We got to thank that sponsor. Make sure you tune in for the Formula V, the Big V runoffs coming up on week 13. It's going to be a big one. We'll have a bunch of promotion and stuff coming out before then, so just keep your eyes tuned here and your ears tuned here, and I'll let you close her off there, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. More details to come for the V runoffs, the 50th running of the V runoffs. As we celebrate in style on week 13. But for Josh Wilkie, I am Charles Boshell. Thank you so much for watching the Ray Esports Weekend Warrior Summer Series here live from Donnington Park. We will see you again next week, same time, same channel. And that is all we have time for today. So until next time, so long.